going to go into the questions and concerns today. This is our third episode, and I'm again joined by Dylan. Say hi
What's
to the
up,
people.
guys? What's up?
We're just gonna go into the question and concerns of each team in around the league. So we're gonna try and go a little fast, but sometimes we know it's not that easy to go fast on when we talk about the NFL. But some teams have more questions and concerns than others, and some teams really just need. There's a little things we're gonna have to nitpick, right? So let's get straight into this, and we're gonna start with the AFC East. And we will go with the Patriots and go from there. So what
My
we
question, my question for the Patriots is, how much will Drake May struggle?
So this really lies on the back of what are they going to do with him, right? I really believe that his future lies in not Gerard Mayo's hands, not Elliot Wolf's hands, the Kraft's hands, right? So you got Jonathan Kraft, and you got obviously Robert Kraft. So these guys are going to make the decisions almost all the time. So, and my biggest guess, and this is what other people were guessing, is that they're going to start him as early as possible, as completely early as possible, because that's what the Krafts want to do. Okay? And with that being said, that's going to screw him over. This
Yeah,
situation is not built for a young
it's not
quarterback.
good for any young quarterback.
Nope.
It's
So,
not built for any quarterback not named Tom Brady.
yeah, I think Tom Brady could succeed in this offense.
He probably could. Give him Chris Hogan, he'll be fine.
Yes, I think May shouldn't start at all, almost like till the end, like till like half the
Like
last
they
half,
just signed,
last half. Yeah,
they just re-signed Jacoby Brissett. Let Brissett show him not like what to do, but like let him learn for a little bit, and then I'd say like week 4, throw him in.
and I'm sure the system's changed since Brissett's there. There's been guys that have been gone, and
But it's
it's still the
it's
same.
more than just not so much like the Patriot way, but like show how to be a pro. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, he, dude, like everyone was like, so Gerard Mayo had said, yeah, he's got a lot to work on, but he didn't say anything positive about Drake. Usually, they're like, oh, if they're gonna go that route, they're like, yeah, he's got a little bit to work on, but talent's there. This is that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they usually say that, and
Yeah,
sometimes, yeah, they'll say they got a little bit to work on, but not this early in the rookie camp. Like, no, this is the first MFN day, and he's already, yeah. The only thing I can say is he needs stuff to work on. It's like, okay, and then the video gets released of his release being so slow, which I think was just fabricated. So
his release takes 3 to 5 business days.
yeah, I think that's a little hyperbole.
A little,
Yeah,
a little
so,
excessive.
but it's okay. I think if he does not start, that's the best thing for him. He's more raw. He's like one of the most raw quarterbacks coming out of this draft. So we'll have to see what the Patriots do, because they have all the control in his hands for him to succeed. Because I think he'll succeed if it's done correctly, his development's done correctly. Guess whose development wasn't done correctly, and he's now no longer on the team? Mr. Kenny Pickett. So it really matters when you're throwing in that rookie quarterback or that younger quarterback. So we'll have to see. But that's the thing, is like with JJ, you could kind of throw him in right away just because of how comfortable the system is. Yeah.
And the absolutely absurd amount of weapons he has off rip.
So you got Kevin O'Connell, who can just scheme everything open for you, and then 2 absolute weapons on the outside, along with a friendly tight end that you can throw to. So
and now Aaron Jones.
Dude, yeah. Oh my gosh. That he can just like in his progression, right? Like,
When in doubt, check down.
yeah. So super nice. I think that's literally what they got Aaron Jones for. Like
Yeah,
like nice little like as a scat back, just like get him the ball if you need to, like kind of thing. Like just like when in doubt.
almost like a. This is gonna be completely wrong. Almost like a Jerick McKinnon. Just like
I feel that. No, I feel that.
reliable pass catcher. That's all they needed him for.
Yeah. So if I was a quarterback, I would have wanted to go there. I wouldn't have cared about where I got drafted. I would have, I wouldn't have cared when I got drafted, like what number. I would have wanted to go to Minnesota.
Yeah.
So
The next team is the Jets, and for that, it's how healthy will Aaron Rodgers actually be?
that is, yep, 100%. I completely agree with that. That determines whether they are.
A title contender, or they just don't make the playoffs at all.
And I thought the NFL would not give them primetime games as much. They are definitely not listening to that. They don't care. They don't care that Aaron Rodgers probably could get hurt again, and now you are relying on Jordan Travis. So I mean, I don't know who their backup is. I really don't. I haven't looked at it.
I saw this one tweet, and it was like, why would you give Aaron Rodgers a primetime game against the team that just signed the guy that tore his Achilles week 1?
Oh, wait. I literally posted it. Who are they playing week 1 again?
The Niners.
The Niners, that's right. That's wild.
That's my only concern with the Jets is if Rodgers stays healthy, they'll be title contenders. If not, then they're Zach Wilson 2.0. Do you have anything for the Jets?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. Other than that, I think it's gonna. A lot of it's gonna rely on their wide receivers staying healthy, like Mike Williams. I think it's still that there was. I feel like they needed one more weapon, because of Mike Williams not being a surefire, like he can play like all 17 games. I think they needed one more. I like Malachi Corley. That adds a different aspect to their offense in the sense that they can just get yak yards. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers is going to love him. And, of course, he texted him right away as soon as he got drafted because he knows he can just throw him the ball to pad his stats, right? So, no, he's always loved those yak guys because he's good at getting them the ball. So, I mean, I like that they added that, but again, they're still lacking something in that offense. And maybe with that Rodgers-Wilson connection, it won't matter. And if Wilson can be super, super reliable, it might not matter, and he might be able to carry the load for the offense. But I still think they need one more quality weapon.
And that's where my mind was with Garrett Wilson. Just he reminds me a lot of a Devontae Adams type.
That's what I think.
He can just dominate the entire game, where it doesn't really matter who else you have to throw the ball to, because he's going to take 2, maybe even 3 defenders, and you'll leave. Isn't Uzama still there? Leave Uzama 1-on-1.
I think he might still be. I don't know because they were talking about Brock Bowers a lot, as if he.
Yeah.
But I think someone talked about during the off season, if Uzama is not stopping you from drafting Brock Bowers, I don't remember if he's still on the team because I could have sworn they got rid of him because they didn't need him. He's on the Eagles.
Oh, gross. But yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Just you can have pretty much anybody with a 1-on-1 if you got Garrett Wilson, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Next is I have the Bills, and I don't really know who Allen's deep threat's gonna be now. Like, he lost Diggs and Gabe Davis, so now he's gonna throw to Curtis Samuel and an unproven rookie.
Yeah.
So it's like, listen, I'm a Washington fan. I love Curtis Samuel. He's not a number one. He's not even a number two. He's a good number three.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, you have your tight ends, you have your two tight ends, but it's like, you
yeah.
can't run a two tight end
they're
set
gonna-
the entire game.
Well, they probably will run it a lot.
Oh yeah, a lot, but you can't run it the entire game.
I think Joe Brady's just gonna change up his offense a little bit. The one thing I think is they're gonna rely on is Cook and those two tight ends, and hopefully Keon Coleman becomes Rashee Rice, not
Yeah.
off the field, but
Yeah,
um,
speed demon.
I think they think Keon Coleman can just be that outside X. I think that's what they're going for. They were thinking probably him or Leggett, and that was what they were going for. I'm worried about, them not having that one receiver that can take away all the pressure, like all the DBs, like take them all away. Like Diggs, that's what he was. Like, I say what you want about his playoff performance, like they were all on him. Like, it was just
Everyone's had that. Everyone's seen that meme. Like, F it, DeAndre Hopkins down there somewhere. It's F it, Diggs is down there somewhere. That's what it's been for Josh Allen the past few years, and now it's like Curtis Samuel is down there somewhere. Like, what?
I can't remember if they got any type of vertical threat. And I mean, Shakir. Oh, they did. That's what we're gonna talk about. MVS.
MVS, yes. Also, no hate to Curtis Samuel. I love Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, they have Claypool too. Amazing receiver. Top three receiver.
The best receiver in the league.
Mac Hollins, which could be an underrated signing. Free agent
Big
signing.
body.
KJ Hamler, who's coming back from that injury. All the other guys are kind of like, wow. They it's funny, dude. They have like guys that have started, but like never been anything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
they have a
they
bunch
got solid number twos and number threes.
right?
They don't have a number one.
Now, in that could be fine in the regular season, but playoffs, yeah, you can kiss goodbye, because it's just gonna be like, there's no one that can just take all the attention from the defense and put it on one side, because you can't do that. You can't do that now because you don't have.
It's almost like trading your first round pick to your rival was a bad idea.
Oh. See, and then Worthy, even if they got Worthy, it wouldn't have been like, oh, yeah, they're fine now. Yeah, he would have gave him more speed, because let's be honest, this isn't the most fastest receiving. But it's like, why? Like, why did you guys do this to yourselves? But here's how I look at it. Let's see if Mahomes if Mahomes could do it without any premier receivers, so can Allen. So we paid him all this money.
I don't believe that.
Well, we'll have to see. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm saying the front office believes it.
There's one Patrick Mahomes, and it's not even close. He is the most talented quarterback we have ever seen.
Yeah, he's on a tier.
He has been doing things that Aaron Rodgers was doing in his prime, and Aaron Rodgers was the most talented quarterback we've seen. And Mahomes, in my opinion, is far more talented than Rodgers.
100%.
That's enough of Aaron Rodgers. I love Aaron Rodgers. He's so exciting. If you can throw a ball 50 yards by flicking your wrist, you're goated. I don't know what to tell you.
The media doesn't like him because of his off the field stuff. You gotta love it. We're on to the
The Dolphins.
Dolphins. How can you
My
play in
question,
warm weather or cold weather?
my question was, do they just have too much speed? Like, I'm not saying like that having speed's a bad thing, but like it almost feels like they're getting too one-dimensional. Like
Mm.
if if they're playing a team like the Ravens, for example, and they get smacked in the mouth, how are they going to respond to that? Like,
They didn't do that well.
yeah, like Mike McDaniel also is one of the smartest humans on the planet when it comes to football. But it's like you have to have something other than Tyreek fast, give him ball, he go fast. Like you got to have something more than that.
Their running back pick was a speed pick. Their first
Yep.
round pick was a speed pick.
Yep.
They are all about it. They're all about the speed, and they think that if they have one enticing, like one just like outstanding attribute to their entire team personality, right? Their whole image. They think that
Fast.
will, yeah, that will lead to success. But again, I'm still gonna reiterate that every team that succeeds tends to be built all around and with some depth. With quality depth that matches, not only matches your system, but matches your football team. And what I mean by that is those players match the culture and they just fit schematically. So, again, that's what the Lions are trying to do right now. And they are succeeding. The Dolphins, not so much. They're a regular season team. That speed will help you in the regular season. But
when it comes
to playoffs,
December, January, that's the cold will slow you down.
Yeah. See, and it did. It made them look more lethargic and slower. So you could just feel it. You could feel it when you were watching that game, Dolphins Chiefs. And I get it that game was historically cold, so maybe they perform better in 30 or 40 degree weather, but how are you going to be promised that in the middle of January? You won't. So, and of course, you know what's funny is they just got the Dolphins, or they got the Bills week 1, which is cool, right? Play one of the hardest
Are they
hardest
in
teams.
Buffalo?
They're in Miami. So what do you think that means?
Buffalo late in the season.
Yep. When it's colder. So, I mean, I don't know, dude. I know everything that's been harping on this team has been around the weather. And it's like, yeah, like weather is like a big aspect of the game, but it's like it can't be, I feel like sometimes it can't be that substantial. But I feel like their O-line really is going to hurt them. And guess who has, struggled with staying upright when the O-line play is not that great.
Gang signed Tua.
So
that was out of pocket. That was out of pocket.
Dude, I mean, at least he didn't have any this year, and he learned how to fall correctly. Yeah. So, I mean, that's great.
Yes.
But if this O-line plays how they look like they'll play on paper, if Teron Armstead can't stay healthy, bro, good luck. Dude is on the brink of retirement. I mean, for all we know, he could get a career-ending injury and retire next season. But like, it just like he's gonna have to keep learning how to fall because he's gonna fall more. So
yeah,
it's almost guaranteed that that he's going to be pressured more and sacked more this season than at least last season. I'm not worried about really anything more than that, just because I feel like, I don't know, their new defensive coordinator, placing Vic Fangio's shoes. I will see how that one goes, but like, they need at least Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb to come back and be what they were, because if neither of those guys come back and be what they were, and then you're relying on Chop Robinson, a raw project, like in the sense that he doesn't have many moves on the edge. He literally is just relying on speed, which is an epitome of this team. So it's funny that they go and get a guy in the first round that literally is exactly what this team is built on, reliant on speed. So they have to not rely specifically on speed this season, because if they do, then that will kill them.
They'll have a repeat.
Maybe even less.
All right, next we're going to jump to the AFC North. You want to start with your Steelers?
Yeah. I'll go fast with these bums, but no, I'm kidding. Good draft, great draft. Like always, Con Artist is in play here. He is that guy. I'm worried about, again, we're relying now on a bunch of deep threats, a bunch of field stretchers. Like, yes, that's nice. That's nice for Wilson. That's cool. Didn't really have that in Denver, right? So,
What do you mean Jerry Jeudy's elite? I love Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, gosh.
Jerry Jeudy's one of my guys.
I saw something that said Jerry Jeudy was a top 3 impact trade of the offseason. So we'll have to see if that guy can revive his career, but it's looking pretty bleak. But back to the Steelers, I love that, like, they got a bunch of field stretchers like Calvin Austin, like not Quez Watkins, but oh my gosh, let's pull up the depth chart. The idea here is that I wanted them to get another, like, an X, or not an X, another X. I wanted something that we could rely on, a wide receiver that we could rely on, but it's looking like they're not even caring. I don't know if they've sent anything to 49ers, but please try to get one of those guys, man. Like, that's what I want them to do. But, like, Van Jefferson, field stretcher. Scotty Miller, field stretcher. Calvin Austin, field stretcher. Like, it's just, like, all these guys are just built on going deep, right? Which is fine, because then you got George Pickens, you got, but, like, a lot of these guys are speed, right? A lot of these guys are speed, field stretchers. I'm just worried about not having a reliable outside presence that might kill us, because, but with Wilson, what's his whole thing? Extending plays, right? And that receiver, which would be on his first progression, most likely, in most of their schemes, wouldn't be getting the ball as much, right? And you know who would be getting the ball more in this offense? Probably. And this is what the thing is with Arthur Smith, man. I have no clue how Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson are going to work together. That's what I'm worried about. That is exactly what I'm worried about, because that could be the whole, we go 8-1 or something, versus we go 10-7 and make the playoffs, or 11. I don't know. Because it's just like, oh, you know what's funny? They have all 3 rookies that we drafted on the O-line starting on the depth chart.
No, they should.
I don't think McCormick starts over Samala, but whatever. Because I'm worried about, because Arthur Smith is going to want to do his thing, and Russell Wilson is going to want to do his thing. I don't know if that's going to work. We saw it not work in Denver, with Sean Payton want to do his thing, and and Russell Wilson want to do his thing. And don't get a player if you're playing fantasy. Do not get a player on the Steelers. Do not dare go for one of the top players on the Steelers. But
my question was, what's Najee's future?
okay, we could go on to Najee. He's lucky because like now what he's gonna have is someone that look what Arthur Smith did for Algier, right? So
Yeah.
he's gonna have that. He's gonna have some more run like maulers in the run game, and that's beautiful for him. There'll be and like the line is just gonna open up more. There'll be more gaps to hit. It's gonna be a matter of him seeing the gaps again, which has been his biggest problem.
If he gets 90 touches a game, I figure he should be able to hit one hole.
Yeah, it's never been his.
It's never been his workload that's the problem.
Well, it's never been his ability to run in a sense that like just being able to make the right moves, his get off, like everything, like, and like his ability to miss tackles, and just like it's never been that ever. Even going back to his days in Alabama, it's always just been his ability to see the field. That's always how it's been for me. There's gaps that needed to be hit, he just doesn't hit them, and then, he can make something out of no gaps being there. Like he can do it, but it's like it's annoying knowing like, oh my gosh, if he could just hit the gaps, he would have got so many more yards here. Like, yeah, he got more yards than expected, but he could have got more because he just didn't see this one gap. So for his future, I think Arthur Smith coming over is advantageous for him. But who knows what they're gonna? Because look, it's just it's so funny. I'm seeing Patterson there. I'm seeing his boy McCole Pruitt there in 4. I know he's gonna use Darnell Washington as much as possible in the receiving game, which he didn't do at all last year. He did a little bit in Georgia, but they didn't have Washington do nothing, right? They have no Washington do nothing last year in the receiving game, almost damn near nothing. They had Connor Hayward doing crap. I know he's gonna use Hayward as much as possible. Like it. I know it says 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, but it's gonna feel like 2 wide receiver, 2 tight ends. It's gonna feel like it because all those tight ends are gonna get it on the field as much as possible because of Arthur Smith being there. Which I'm not gonna complain about it. It's just gonna be a funny offense to watch. So if you're watching the Steelers, just be ready to laugh because it's
2 tight ends, a fullback set. That's all you're getting.
Yeah, and we have.
They might throw Najee at fullback and give the ball to Warren. Who knows?
We have a fullback now too.
Oh, after Watt?
No, Watt's gone.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying after he left.
Oh yeah, Jack Coletta. I've never heard of this guy, but I don't know. And the line's pretty young, so they'll have their little hiccups, but I'm not worried about the defense, man. They always tend to get guys that like, okay, yeah, his name's not that big, but it's like whatever, and then it's just like, oh yeah, he works because they know how to get people that fit their scheme pretty well. So I'm and they're willing to change up based on who they have too, which is nice. And I think their cornerback depth is. I know they don't have like the best number 2 corner, and the best nickel corner, but it's like the depth is looking pretty good from a young standpoint. Like guys that are gonna be hungry and willing to jump in when need be. I'm excited to see if Corey Trice can stay healthy, and the Ryan Watts pick, who he might go to safety. I want to see how good he could be, and they might use him this year actually, even though he was a 6th or 7th round pick. But yeah,
all right.
I could talk about Steelers all day. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Next is the Bengals, and my biggest concern is their receivers' contract situations.
Yeah. Well, now Boyd's gone.
My biggest concern could be the health of Joe Burrow in his wrist, but it's like I feel like Joe Burrow is a player where it doesn't matter how banged up he is, you know what you're gonna get out of him.
Well, I mean, they were talking about that calf injury not being that big of a deal, but it felt like those first couple games for him where they were struggling. He couldn't move as well out of the pocket or in the pocket. It just felt like it. Like you could feel it, you could see it. And whether that had not been an actual issue and they just were struggling to struggle, it does concern me. And with the fact that I just how much like you know like they're like, oh, Joe Burrow back on the field. Like I don't feel like they do that often. Do that much often with other quarterbacks, and I might be wrong. It just feels like everyone's like, oh my gosh, we have to see how he's moving. We have to see how he's operating.
It's almost like he has like an aura around him that like, even if he's not moving the greatest, he gets everyone around him moving for him, if that makes sense.
Right. I think with the wide receivers,
you pay Jamar first. You just have to.
well, yeah, of course they're gonna have to do that, and that's partially why they're not, or not partially, but that's mostly why they're not paying. You know.
T.
I just with T. I know both of those guys, T and Trey, both and Trey Henderson being not a wide receiver, but on the defense. I know both of those guys want to play for the Bengals. I think that's pretty obvious. I'm just worried that they just need him to be in it this year.
Yeah.
I think they view it as Jermaine Burton. Call me crazy, but if they can get his character stuff out of the way, he can become their wide receiver too. And then they can draft or go get someone free agency next year, a wide receiver 3. The thing with Burton, obviously being the character stuff and, you know, all the stuff he did off the field, that's why he was a 3rd-round draft pick. Dude easily could have went 2nd, maybe even end of the 1st, if it weren't for all that stuff. So if they can clear that up, and that's not an issue, oh my gosh, he could just take in the 3 easily, or later down the road, like I said, take in the 2nd. So I think they knew that going into this draft, they were going to draft the T. Higgins replacement. And I think that's what they hope for in Jermaine Burton. Because they knew, hey, all right, well, we can't really take a wide receiver this early where we're at. We need to get a lineman. But maybe 2nd round, 3rd round, we take a chance on a wide receiver that we like. And they felt like, oh, Jermaine Burton has the skill sets of a 1st or 2nd. We just have to control him. So I think that's where they're going with it.
Next up is the Browns. And I want one word answer out of you for this one.
Got it.
Watson or Flacco? No, legit. Like with the way that Flacco played last year, it's almost hard to sit him.
Watson, because you paid him.
Like,
sorry, it wasn't one word, but
I mean, yeah, that's
one of the worst contracts of all time. We could get into that contract.
the worst.
That could be a whole episode, but
yeah,
I think they're now putting pressure on him too again because they just went and got 2 guys. They went and got Winston, and I can't remember who else, but it was not a scrub. They're just pretty much telling him, like, hey, man, you better play good because we're just
show up or show out.
This is the time. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. No one really knows what Deshaun Watson. It's like Flacco was able to just go in there and succeed. It's just like,
yeah.
I think he's
You don't
just
know what he's
gotta.
capable
Well,
on
he's
or
gotta
off the
rely
field.
on Cooper, man. He's gotta get that connection with Cooper going. We saw that with Flacco, and how much that helped that offense. Like, come on, dude. Like that's exactly what he needs to. Like they need to have so many different plays set up for him, where his first progression is Cooper, and it just felt like that was not the case when he was playing. Right? It felt like, um,
Or maybe he just has some personal beef with Amari Cooper. I don't know. Like,
That's right. That's how it felt like, right? Because I didn't see a game where those two were connecting. I don't remember a game. where
he was like allergic to throwing him the ball. I don't know.
no, that's crazy.
Next for the Ravens, I just put running back curse. That is my biggest fear for this Ravens offense. Is the Ravens running back curse. I do not want it to happen. I think that offense will be the most fun offense in the league. I'm a huge believer in ground and pound, run the ball, play some good defense, and this would honestly be my favorite team to watch all year if Derrick Henry can stay healthy.
Yeah, and hey, he's been decently healthy throughout his career.
Oh,
but,
yeah. But I'm just saying, it's the curse of the Ravens running backs. And ever since Ray Rice, it's honestly the Ray Rice curse.
Oh gosh.
Like every single running back has been hurt.
Yeah. It does suck, and it's funny how the Chargers went and got both those two Ravens running backs that get injured a lot, but. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a run game first. It's gonna be a run first offense, clearly, and again, it's gonna be this offense is gonna be very similar to oh no, what was the team? The kind of like the Bills, where it's gonna be rely on those two tight ends and your running back,
A lot of play
obviously
action.
the quarterback. So I mean. Lots of it. I mean, with this team, that line's going to be a little streaky, I feel like, for a little bit. I like Voorhees. The problem was he was like a second-round talent last year. He got drafted in the 7th round because of injuries, or because of a big injury. And I really liked his game and the fact that they got him in the 7th round. And now they're going to play him. That's awesome for them. Linderbaum's probably going to take a step up. Ronnie Stanley's a little young, or a little older. Man, if they expect Rosengarten to go in there day one and start, I'm kind of concerned about that. I don't know, dude. That line could be a little streaky, and that could be more of a problem for them than it has been in the recent years. But that defense is just looking chef's kiss. Again, like it always does, it feels like. Maybe Trenton Simpson. And Trenton Simpson, man, I mean, when I watched him in preseason, he was balling. Okay? So I don't know how much snaps he really got in the regular season last year. Maybe he got more than I'm cutting him out to get. But I think if he can take that step up and just easily replace Patrick Queen, that would be just big for this defense, because there's not many holes in this defense that you could talk about. And now they have Nate Wiggins, and they still have Brandon Stevens, and they re-signed Arthur Mollett, and they got TJ Tampa, who slid for specific reasons that I don't know, that are out of my knowledge, right? That corner room now is turned into insanity. So their safeties, yeah, no. I can't. I can go around this depth chart and sit here and talk about it, but I can't sit here and be like, oh yeah, this is a hole. But I feel like their biggest hole for me, yes, like you said, I mean, staying healthy. It's always been a Baltimore thing. So, man, if they can stay healthy, and especially if Lamar can stay healthy, because we've seen it, and we saw it last year. He was able to stay healthy, believe, all year. That's going to be huge for them. But, again, this line could be more of an issue than it ever has been. So, just keep that at bay. So,
while we're on the topic of somewhat of Derrick Henry, for the Titans, what's going to be their identity with the post-Henry era? Like,
That's what I'm gonna joke about. Like with him gone, like what is their identity? Now it's gonna be sling that MFer.
it's,
Okay,
it, F it, D-Hop down there somewhere.
I fuck it. Tyler Boyd in the slant.
Tyler Boyd, you're tossing to D-Hop now. Sorry about your luck.
Yeah. I mean, this is the let's see it Will Levis kind of year. So this offense, it looks on paper it looks great, but we'll have to see how they actually execute it. It's gonna look different than last year. They now have a running back by committee, not the bell cow, and it's definitely changed from what they are. And that left side, if they can get Latham going, because he's huge, man. Have you seen some of the pictures? He is crazy big. If they can get that left side like polished, that would be insane. I still feel like that line still is it's still a little rough, but it could improve this year. And if that is the case, that gives Will Levis enough time to kind of like actually throw to these guys, because he has guys now. Traylon Burks, who they drafted to replace A.J. Brown, is now their fourth receiver.
Traylon Burks is also buns.
Here's my problem with Burks is the way they used him in college at Arkansas, he can't rely on now. They cannot rely on him to play like that. And it was just like, I'm just going to out-athletic everybody I'm playing against, because this whole system runs through me, the ball runs through me, and they just can't do that. So his role needs to switch up this year, and it will. If he's wide receiver 4, it's gonna be different. The role he's gonna play this year is gonna be so different from any year before. All the like, it's weird. It's weird to say that It's weird to not say like, oh my gosh, they have Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd. Like, it's weird to say like, wow, this is it's okay, but it's not like insane. It does that not like look at those names on paper. Go back to 2019 or 2020 or something. That's
a couple years ago. This is absolutely nuts.
I know. So it's hard to say like, okay, which one of these guys could return to their former self, or I don't know. I don't think they can. That's the thing is, there's little confidence that those 3 wide receivers. Well, the Ridley thing,
They took a gamble on him.
I think Ridley could. And they have Ridley down as wide receiver 1. I think he could do it. The problem is, I don't think he could be wide receiver 1. But I feel like he could play better. Now that he has less. Because he was expected to be that outside, like, even though he's more of a versatile guy, he's more better in the slot. He was expected to be this like guy that could just get open all the time. Like, he was expected to be the Diggs or the Devontae Adams or the, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's not what he is.
He's not, and it's just I feel like that Jaguars offense, it was a lot of redundancy, and that's kind of what. And they didn't have a field stretcher. They didn't have an X receiver that they could trust. Like, they didn't have that. So Trevor Lawrence now not having, he just couldn't throw really far down the field. So let's go. Let's segue now into Jacksonville now with that.
Jack. My concern is, can they get a reliable running game? What I mean by reliable running game is, my personal opinion, I see ETN as like a third down back, receiving back. I feel like they need to have like a ground and pound, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of guy.
Well, that's what they drafted Tank Bigsby for, and didn't really work out rookie season. Maybe he takes that step up this year, but if you want that, I think Bigsby needs to take a step up. I think that's kind of what they're hoping for this year. I think they think with Travis Etienne's production, if you're a fantasy guy, you know, the production's been there, but again, I like how you said, because it's like, yeah, the production's there for Etienne, but the run game, as in general,
the run game's not there, but Etienne's producing.
right? So, and now I like how they got Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas, two guys that can stretch the field. That's great. And you know, Brian Thomas is gonna bring that speed, which is nice. But again, I mean, is there now? Again, we're going back to this. Is there that? Do you think Brian Thomas can become that X guy, that guy that you can rely on the outside, just completely?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If that's what he can do, if that's what he can become, then this is gonna look good. But man, I don't know. This team has a lot of bright sides, a lot of upsides. It's just gonna be a matter of and they upgraded their defense a little bit. It's gonna be a lot of some of these younger guys taking bigger steps for them, and that being a Devin Lloyd, that being Trayvon Walker, you know, that being again, like we said, Tank Bigsby. It's gonna be those guys having to take up steps. Antoine Harrison taking a bigger step. Like, a lot of these guys, like, yeah, they're okay, but if they can if one of these guys, one or two of these guys takes a big step, Brian Thomas even, I mean, he doesn't have a step, you know, to take. He hasn't played a down in the NFL, but like, if he can play better than and I get it, you know, wide receiver 4 in this draft is wide receiver 2 or 1 in another draft. We talked about that. But if he can play better than a wide receiver 4 on this team, like, it's just the offense is gonna light up, and there was definitely issues with the offense last year that we weren't expecting, because on paper last year it looked good, but again, like I said, they didn't have that reliable receiver they could go to all the time. So,
All right. So then for the Colts, I have my biggest concern is how healthy will Anthony Richardson be? I know a lot of these have been like, oh, a health thing, but it's like he's so phenomenal. When he is on the field, he is so phenomenal.
And that's what people are banking on for them being like a true divisional threat here, for the Texans and the Jags. With the Colts, I like what they're doing at receiver. I do like that. And I think with Jelani Woods, he'll take that step up. And they do have him at tight end 1. It's just a matter of him being healthy, because when he was on the field, electric. Anthony Richardson got some toys now, so I think that's what they're all hyped up about. But I think you need JT to come back to what he was, if you want a fighting chance. Their running back room isn't the greatest, so one can hope that. And they've kind of relied, actually, in the last couple of years on like these serviceable running backs that aren't starters, but like they're just like they play better. And then credit to Shane Steichen and those before him for you know, allowing these running back 2s to really like shine in the offense. But I really believe that JT needs to get back to his old self for them to really actually succeed. Because if they don't have that running game, man, it will be terrible for them. But other than that, they're building pretty well. I just it worries me that they didn't address corner all too well in the draft, because the guy they drafted for corner is sitting at the back of the depth chart. So that does worry me. Like, I like Julius Brents, Juju Brents, or whatever you want to call him. But it does worry me that they did not draft a serviceable, like a corner that could start for them. That worries me, Dylan. That really does. Because it's always been their issue, and they just don't address it.
So for the Texans, I'm fearing a sophomore slump. That's my biggest concern. If C.J. Stroud can avoid the sophomore slump, the Texans will be perfectly fine. Nothing too concerning. But that's pretty much all I have for them.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge thing, CJ. It's gonna be hard to live up to what he did last year because of how amazing last year was. But
it almost felt unexpected.
Yeah, I mean it was unprecedented in a sense that we never seen a rookie quarterback really perform that well. Felt like, not for a while. Like it's been a while since we've seen a rookie quarterback, and he broke records, and like his ability to just take care of the football, really helped him out.
He was aggressive but not stupid.
Yeah. And everyone thought it was going to be the opposite because of his stupid S2 test that doesn't say anything. Doesn't tell you anything. So screw off. I just like how they're building this team. There's so much to like about this team, and they kept Bobby Slowick, which he could have went to another team. D'Amico Ryans has a culture he's instilling. It's everything. All the pieces are coming together. It's gonna be a matter of just everyone staying healthy, and yes, like you said, C.J. Stroud he doesn't even have to have that great of last year. He doesn't. He really doesn't even have to play as good as last year. He just does not need to. He just needs to not take a step down. And here's the thing: we're not gonna sit here and be like, oh well, wow, he had a great year. Now he's due for a bad one. No, it's like dude can still improve. He was a rookie.
Yes, the sophomore slump it's not a he's bad now. It's a learning year almost because
teams are gonna know him out, and teams are gonna know better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they didn't have any tape on him coming into last year other than college, and that college, we know anything about college tape, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Because a lot of guys, you'd be like, oh, I love this guy, I love his film, I love this, and then something just doesn't for him. It doesn't translate in the NFL, and he just isn't.
Malik Willis. I rest my case.
Okay, he was also going up against poor.
Yeah. He's going up against Duquesne. All right. On to the Chiefs. My concern, I told Nick this before we even started recording, it's can they beat Joe Burrow? That's my concern for them. Because there's really nothing to be worried about when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback.
For real. That's how it feels. That's how it feels. I can't even lie anymore.
The biggest concern is, will they face Joe Burrow in the playoffs?
Will Mahomes stay healthy?
Yes, that's literally all it is.
If not, Carson Wentz at the helm, baby. Let's go.
I would rather gouge my eyes out with a rusty spoon. I had to watch that, and it was horrible.
Can you imagine, though, what the NFL will look like?
I do not wish that on my worst enemy. That was honestly the most miserable year as a Washington fan I can remember.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't even tell you. It was horrible.
So Chief, can Rashee Rice not get a full year suspension? Because it's looking like it's gonna go that way. Yeah.
For the Broncos, all I put was, can Sean Payton get back the way he coached it when he was in New Orleans? I know a lot of that was because he had Drew Brees, and
that's why he drafted Bo Nix. That's why he drafted Bo Nix. Bo Nix is the next Drew. No, I'm kidding. Bo Nix.
No, he is not.
Bo Nix will run his system. That's all he cares about. Yes. All right. They're not worried about him doing it. He's gonna tell him. He's gonna be like, do not do extra shit. I don't need none of that. Just
when in doubt, check down. Run
through your progressions. When in doubt, check down, baby. When in doubt, check down, and I'm scared. I just really, it's this Javonte Williams can't really. It doesn't feel like he can succeed in this offense. I love him. I love his game. It just in this offense, it just feels impossible for him to succeed in. That's what I'm worried about, and I think he the injury history doesn't really help him out either. The wide receiver, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about all that. Josh Reynolds is your wide receiver too. I mean, it worked for the Lions, so we will have to see. But it's gonna rely on Bo Nix playing into or giving into Sean Payton's system. The way we knew Drew Brees didn't. But, he's not Drew Brees. And truthfully, I don't know if his ceiling even will reach Drew Brees if he was to hit his ceiling. But they're getting some guys back on defense. They got some guys on defense. Yeah.
I just did a little research on a name for this podcast. I feel like the check down. I feel like that is taken by someone. But I just looked up and there's nothing on there. So, when in doubt, check down. Welcome to the check down.
Yeah, is there? Oh, you're saying like for the name of this podcast?
Yeah.
I feel like there is.
That's what I thought too.
Is it? Yo, wait, hold on. Pause. Yeah, on Instagram. That's what I thought. The check down.
Oh, there is?
Yeah. I think
damn.
they're operated out of. I think it's an NFL page too. I don't know. I saw that they have like 1.6 mil.
Yep, that's chalked.
Yeah, we can't do chalked because we'll think of something. We'll find it. Yeah. One day, I'm sure one day something will pop in their head.
It'll just hit me randomly.
And you'll text it. Yeah, that's exactly how I imagined it. But yeah, this Broncos team's a little odd. I don't know, dude. I couldn't really tell you other than they play in the same division as the Chiefs. So good luck.
Yeah, that's how this entire division is. Like the Chiefs one is can they beat Joe Burrow, and it's like these other ones are just like I didn't put. Can they score 15 points on the Chiefs? It's not. I didn't put that, but I could have.
Yeah, no, Denver. It's funny is Denver was a question mark going into the draft, and for good reason because they're a question mark in general. Like this team is a question mark in general. I don't know how this team works on paper. It doesn't really feel like it works well, but it could work. Just like the team we'll get to later. The Washington Commanders. But sorry, Dylan, but it's the truth.
Hey, I got Landover syndrome. Don't you worry about me. I'll explain what that is when we get to them.
All right.
But so next is the Raiders. The only bright spot on this team is Brock Bowers. So I put how will they score points? That is the entire thing. How are they going to score points?
Yeah. So. I am really worried because Aiden O'Connell is going to start most likely.
Minshew mania, though.
I know, but I think they.
I want that Mississippi mustache to come back.
The thing is like, man, the AFC West is really hard to talk about.
Yeah. I say we don't need to spend a lot of time on it because it's just like the Chiefs and everybody else, but
I just think they got Brock Bowers though, just as like another toy, like another weapon, because I just feel like they need that, because a lot of their other guys that they have are just serviceable and they're sufficient and they work, but they're not. None of them are like absolute playmakers. And now with Josh Jacobs gone, it seems as if their running game is kind of just not going to be there next year. And that kind of worries me. Because he was a lot of what they opened up a lot of stuff for them. Because he can do a lot of stuff. He can catch out of the backfield. He can run and pound. Like he was a versatile running back that would open up a lot of other stuff for them on offense. But now they don't have that. They have Zamir White and Alexander Mattison, which I don't know if I can trust that. Now, I think Jacoby Myers is underrated, and I know Devontae Adams will be fine, but I think they got Brock Bowers here just because they felt like they needed someone, and again they'll definitely use him in the slot role. Like that's like how they use Dalton Kincaid is how they're gonna use Brock Bowers. How they use Dawson Knox is how they're gonna use Michael Mayer. So I completely understand what they're going for, and I'm happy that they got Jackson Powers Johnson in the second round. But I don't know. I don't know about this Raiders team.
Yeah, me either. The Chargers, for me, it's will Quentin Johnson rebound.
That's big. That's huge.
Yeah, if he can be half the player he was supposed to be, they will be fine.
Yeah, and we know what they're gonna do. It's Jim freaking Harbaugh.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be those two tight end sets. We know the 12 personnel. We know it's gonna be like that. Dude, you should see the depth chart and what they did at tight end position, and it will just be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Will Dissly, Hayden Hurst, Donald Parham, Stone Smart. That's all. That literally is just. Those are 4 Harbaugh guys, and not maybe so much Hayden Hurst, but those are guys that will block for you. Those are guys that will also like just be open in the wide. I'm just worried again, and we knew this is why we kind of knew they would not draft a wide receiver, because Harbaugh feels like he doesn't need crazy wide receivers, and then he goes and gets, and I think it's so funny, and this has to be something, man. There has to have been something talked about through the brothers. The fact that they go get 2 running backs that played in Harbaugh's system, the other Harbaugh. I think that is not a coincidence. They talk to each other about it, and like, oh, here's 2 guys that worked for my brother. Let's get them both in, and then let's go draft a guy that is very similar to those 2 guys. And I just like, and I like the Ladd McConkey pick. I like that, and I'm happy that they were able to get him. But man, I don't think they are gonna rely too much on wide receivers. I think it's gonna be more running back, tight end heavy, and we'll have to see if Justin Herbert, if the line plays good for Herbert, because that will be huge.